So everybody will see my video also, right?
Yes, of course. We are live right now.
Okay.
Just let me do the last settings.
So I have to keep smiling.
Yeah, please. Okay, hello, everybody. How are you? Hello, boys and girls. Good afternoon. This is again Alejandro Castillo from Mexico City in the Volley Talks in this Plus Volleyball Facebook page. Thanks a lot for watching again. Today is Saturday, October the 10th of 2020. Well, 2021 is closer every day. So, well, thanks for being here. Yesterday we had a great talk for the fourth time, Mireya Luis. But today we have another great guest, a very big personality on volleyball in NORCECA and FIVB. And it's a pleasure for me to introduce Mr. Mushtaque Mohammed, FIVB Development Commission President, and also in NORCECA Development Commission President, among other things. Thanks a lot for being here, Mushtaque. How are you? Kind regards to Trinidad Tobago.
Oh, thank you very much, Alejandro, for having me on your very famous channel. I am happy to be here and to share with you things about volleyball and even how we organize volleyball at FIVB, how we do it at NORCECA, or even our philosophy for volleyball.
Yeah, that's right. That's the issue I want to discuss at the end about your volleyball philosophy. What do you think about volleyball development, and what can we expect for volleyball in the next few months and years? But well, starting with, of course, the obligated question: how are you doing in Trinidad with this COVID thing?
Well, first to begin, Alejandro, tell me a little bit before I answer your questions about your audience, because I need to know who I am talking to. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. Of course. Well, it's not only volleyball fans from Mexico. It's volleyball fans from Mexico, NORCECA, North America, Central America, South America. I have audiences in Africa, in Europe, in Asia. Well, maybe for the hour 6 p.m. maybe Europe,
Yeah.
but not a lot. But a lot of people very interested in volleyball, to hear about volleyball philosophy from different personalities.
Right.
As I told you, this is episode 106, and I have had
Wow.
a lot of volleyball personalities from America, from Europe, from Asia, from Australia, from South America, etc. So that's the thing, Mushtaq, is to talk about volleyball, is
Right.
to know uh, about your history, about your development, your career in volleyball, but
Yeah.
at the end, about your philosophy of volleyball.
Sure, sure. So let me first greet the people from all over the world. With whichever language you speak, we all are involved in a common sport, and that is volleyball.
Yes, of
So
course.
wherever and whichever part of the world you are, I say that, look, we all are one family in volleyball. We love each other because we are enthusiastic about the sport. And may I say that wherever you are and whatever you're listening, I would try my best in terms of my English. I don't know if it's in most of the NORCECA countries are Spanish speaking. In Brazil, it's Portuguese. And of course, in Africa, in Asia, the language is different. But like a referee, all international referees must know English.
Yes,
So I am saying that I hope that everybody is understanding what I'm about to say. So good night to everyone. Good morning, buenos dias, buenos noches, buenos tardes, wherever you are, Sawadee in Thailand, Dzień dobry in Portugal, in Poland, and wherever. But to start, in terms of what is happening in Trinidad, we in Trinidad are no different to other parts of the world, I think. We all are experiencing the trauma of the COVID pandemic. We have partial. For instance, the restaurants are open, but we're now not allowed to dine in the restaurants, only takeaway service. People are going to work, but only as required. The schools are closed.
Oh,
Every child are doing their studies. They are doing it online. So a lot of things are being done virtually. So I am saying that this is no different to any part of the world. We are a small country with 1.4 million people, and we have it's our education system starts in the term of September and go until the term of July the following year. So it's the beginning of another school year, and all the kids, all the children, even university, it's closed physically, but they are doing virtual classes. So, but we are happy. We have up until now, we just have about 85 deaths, and most of these deaths, maybe 80 of those deaths are people who are over the age of 50 and 60. Very one or two for younger people, and those the consolation we have is that those are the ones who had some other form of illness and they were unable to overcome the COVID-19. So we are happy and we are thankful for that, to be that we are not as bad as some other parts of the world, like Mexico.
yeah, like Mexico, we are rosing, I think we are near to 80,000 deaths of
Yeah,
COVID. It's a shame. But well, we hope that the vaccine can come soon.
soon.
And well, that the next year we can be together in a volleyball court again. That is the thing we love. Yeah.
But Alejandro, you see what you're doing is keeping the people together. And this is, I must compliment you. 106 events, 106 times. It is not an easy job.
Not
And
really.
it's not a job, it's done voluntarily.
Yes, of
It's
course.
because it's for the passion.
Yeah.
And we are happy to see each other. This is how we meet each other. I have had different seminars and different volleyball activities. We are having board meeting at NORCECA in next, in the NORCECA Congress in a couple of weeks' time. And for the first time, we will be having Congress virtual, you know. And we have shifted the FIVB Congress that is supposed to have the World Congress at FIVB, and that has been shifted to January, and we are not certain if still is going to be in January as COVID allow us to do.
Yeah, yes, of course, it has impacted all our activities, and not just volleyball, but our daily activities. COVID, but well, I hope we can next year we can go back to volleyball events. I first met you 2 or 3 months ago in the sports administration seminar with the NORCECA. I
Right.
was there, and it was pretty amazing to hear the plans, to hear the vision of NORCECA have. I felt very honored, and I know that all of you in NORCECA are working very hard to keep safe all people, and wishing also that we can return to volleyball events.
Yes, we have an amazing president at NORCECA. I think he's probably the hardest working president in all of FIVB. For sure, he's the hardest working confederation president, I'm sure. And he also has a great passion for the sport. You know, I remember with Cristobal when he and I joined together as a board member of NORCECA. And when he became president, he said something. He said, think about a ship that is getting ready to sail, and we are putting everybody on board this ship. Captain Cristobal is ready to sail the NORCECA ship. Get on board. Because if you don't get on board, NORCECA is going to develop really fast and really humongous, that you're going to have to be a great swimmer to get the ship. And so said, so happened. He said it and it happened. the things have changed in 2001 to now.
19 years ago.
Yes, when
19
Cristobal
years.
became president. A matter of fact, well, I have been there in NORCECA since before Cristobal. So I joined NORCECA. My first board meeting at NORCECA was 1989 in Puerto Rico, when Lulu Mendoza became president.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was a very crucial Congress, because at that Congress, Al Monaco from United States contested against Lulu Mendoza. Am I really someone who I dearly love and go together is from Mexico, Alejandro Salinas. You're somebody with your same name.
Yes, of course.
If you know,
I met Mr. Salinas very well.
yeah, and Salinas and I, we shared many moments together. We were many events together, and he was, in my opinion, because of his seniority, I used to say, in my understanding of little Spanish I know, I say, abuelo de voleibol, you know. So it's Alejandro was my really good friend, and good, I say, good grandpa.
Yes, yes, I know. Yeah, he was a really big volleyball personality in Mexico for a lot of years, and sadly he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
Mushtaq, so well, what you told us about your first step in NORCECA, but before that, I know that you start playing cricket, right? Cricket is big in Trinidad because of the British influence.
Yeah.
But how did you start to get involved in volleyball?
Well, yes, I played cricket and I love cricket. I still do love cricket, you know. And volleyball in a small village where I live, very small community. We in Trinidad had one of 3 volleyball courts.
3.
And at that time, in three. The oil refinery had one. One was in the small village where I live, had one. And the other one was another small village in the southern part of Trinidad. So volleyball came to Trinidad in 1934, around that time, that period, when missionaries from Canada came to spread their religion. And because they're from Canada, they brought the sport of volleyball. And it came to mostly to the sugarcane planters, the people who were working in the sugarcane industry. And hence it was the sugarcane industry was more to the southern part of Trinidad. And because it was the southern part of Trinidad, most of the development of volleyball took place more to the southern part of Trinidad. And if you know Trinidad, a small country, we could just talk about the north and the south. The north has the capital, the south has the industry, the petrochemical industry and the sugarcane industry. So the southern part was the industrial capital. The northern part was the commercial capital. Okay? So in the southern part, I said, well, there's 3 courts where the sugarcane, the oil refinery had one, where I live in my small village, and in the second capital, which is called San Fernando. You know, we have many Spanish influence in Trinidad also. So San Fernando was where we had the 3rd court. And that court when my village was just in front of my father's house. So every afternoon, what's an outdoor volleyball court. Outdoor, nobody had indoor volleyball court. Nobody had indoor gymnasium. And it was, the surface of that court was made out of asphalt. You know, the same asphalt that we drive on the road, because Trinidad has the largest lake asphalt in the world. I don't know if you know that, but we are a supplier of bituminous product and asphalt to many industry over the world, to repave highways and airport strips and stuff like that. So because of it's just in front of my home, I, as a small kid, my uncles and my neighbors and my friends around there used to play volleyball, and we used to go and just be like ball retrievers, what we would call ball retrievers, you know. And so we had the smaller kids at the age of 6, 7, 8, 10, as we grew up, we were running the ball outside. We were happy to run the ball and get the ball, because in that time, I talking about in the 70s and early 70s, in the 80s, there was nothing like now we have 40 and 50 volleyball on the court and stuff. There was one volleyball the village had.
I can imagine that.
One volleyball the village had. And this one volleyball, everybody had to have an opportunity. So they would have play, whoever play, they win, they come out, they change, and we was to be on the outside running to catch the ball, because the court was alongside the road. So the cars were passing on the roadway. So we had to prevent the ball from going in the roadway. Our fault wasn't it was not a highway. So cars will pass not very often. And also it was in front of the neighborhood, the neighbors' pieces of land, their front yard. So, you know, so this is how this is how I got involved. I grew with it in my community, you know, and then I started playing. When I got older, I became the captain of my club in the village, which is called by that time our village club was Hotspurs Volleyball Club. Not a very large club, not a big club, and not a club but my uncles and they played, and they were the stronger national players at that time. And that's how I got involved in volleyball.
Well, we are talking about mid-70s, late 70s.
Sorry?
We are talking about mid-70s?
Yeah.
Late 70s?
Yes. You know, I'm talking about, from 70s or more to about 85, 70 to 85, more or less, I played volleyball on that court. So about 15 years, I grew up playing volleyball on that court.
Well, for example, Mushtaque, I started to follow volleyball since 84 Olympics in Los Angeles, because here in Mexico, we at that time had 5 minutes of volleyball on television, you know, in Olympics. How was that kind of volleyball broadcasted in Trinidad?
Oh, I look at every match of the Olympics in 1984. Because in 1984 and 1988 Olympics was a very crucial Olympics.
Yes.
Was an Olympics when the Russia, USSR, and United States they had issues with each other, political issues. And 1984 with Catch Carlisle and those guys playing, and St. John Smith, and I used to say Randy Stockwell, and those guys, a matter of fact, Catch Carlisle was my image that I wanted to become.
Yeah.
You know? And 1984 Olympics, I remember looking at it. I remember taping it from the television, you know. But eventually, I lose the recording. But 84 Olympics, we were able to in Trinidad at that time, everybody had the NBC feed.
Oh, that's great.
And of course, because of having...
We in Mexico didn't have NBC, just local television, 5 minutes of volleyball every day. 5 minutes.
It was local television, but local television got the feed from NBC. So it meant that everything that is happening with the American teams, not only volleyball, but anything that is the American were favored for and they were making medals, that is what you got on your television.
Of course.
And for me, it was happy that United States was winning, so we got a lot of United States games, and I enjoyed that event. And I remember talking to John Kessel, you know, and because he was part of the event, and I think, if I'm not too sure, the assistant coach at that time was Jim Coleman.
Yeah, Jim Coleman, the head coach was Doug Beal.
Beal, right. So there's another very interesting story between Jim Coleman and myself. Because Jim Coleman was a board member of NORCECA when I became a board member of NORCECA. And Jim Coleman and I, because we both spoke English, were the only two board members speaking English. Jim and I shared many moments together, because we would have sometimes had to room together. We would have had to, every time we sat for meetings at that time, there was no simultaneous Translation, Jim knew nothing about Spanish. I had a little knowledge of Spanish, but as I grew, I learned more. But Jim and I, we shared a great experience also. And I could not ever believe that I would be sitting next to a hero as Jim Coleman and Douglas Beal in the same room that I was in, you know. But as you say, the volleyball give you many opportunities.
Oh yeah, they are both big names in volleyball.
Yeah. Even St. John Smith. St. John Smith and I, we did many events in beach volleyball. And St. John Smith mentored me as a technical delegate for beach volleyball. I trained with St. John because St. John, I never did beach volleyball before. But then because beach volleyball was developing a lot in NORCECA, Cristobal asked me to get involved in the knowledge of beach volleyball so that I become a technical delegate. And to become a technical delegate, you had to work with someone else who are knowledge. And I worked with St. John Smith in Brazil for an event just after the Olympics. And that's how I grew and gained my knowledge as a technical delegate for beach also.
Oh, well, you learn from the best, the king of the beach, St. John Smith.
Of course. Yes.
Oh, he was. They both were here in the show 3 months ago. St. John and Randy. It was a great talk.
Yeah.
Great guys. So, well, you started in NORCECA in the 80s, and how was your developing in NORCECA, in CAZOVA, in FIVB, in this period of time? It's very amazing because you came from a country where a very small country where volleyball maybe no as big as maybe in Mexico or Canada or United States.
Yeah. Well, when we came into, there were a few countries in 1988, really 1988 or 1987. There was, remember NORCECA was formed not too long ago, and countries are now becoming members. And Trinidad became a very frequent member because our past president, he passed away, Rafael Hussein, and Alejandro Salinas, and another guy by the name of Jacques Joachim from Haiti, and Ramon Rico. They were the founders of NORCECA. And because those 4 guys, Alejandro wasn't there because at the beginning, it was more so our Ruben Acosta. So Ruben Acosta, Jacques Joachim from Haiti, Ramon Rico from Curaçao, Netherlands Antilles, and Rafael Hussein from Trinidad and Tobago were the frequent members who were often involved in NORCECA. And Trinidad was probably one of the only Caribbean countries, again, because we had some opportunities, we participated regularly. So Rafael Hussein was a vice president for the Caribbean in NORCECA. And hence, because he was there, and then when he moved on, I sort of filled his gap because we were the only one for being often present at a NORCECA meeting, a NORCECA event. Okay? And of course, yes, we are a smaller country, but because you are there often, you will, of course, create some form of credibility and knowledge of the sport and gain experience. So, and then in 1990 to be exact, 1991, the NORCECA at that time were trying to develop something within the Caribbean, like they had with Central America, with FIVB.
Yeah.
So Central America was probably the first zone that was formed by FIVB because of the logistics of FIVB, of the Central American teams, 7 countries. It was very easy for them to commute. They could have taken a car and drive across each other's border and play. So at that time, Dr. Acosta thought it very important that we could create a little zone in this area, in NORCECA. And the success of that, because of the language together and the ease of geographic location, they thought that they could have more zones. The Caribbean because we had maybe about 21 countries from NORCECA came from the Caribbean. And they thought that, okay, yes, let's do a zone, because maybe 7 or 8 of that 21 countries participated regularly at NORCECA. Okay, and in 1991, when the first zone was, well, the first championships was held, only 2 teams participated, and that was Curacao and Suriname in 1991. And then in 1992, it went to Jamaica. So Suriname hosted the first Caribbean one. And then Jamaica hosted the second one, and they had 6 female teams and 5 male teams. And then, so it was growing. And we offered to host the 3rd Caribbean Championships. And we thought that we would do it like FIVB tournaments was held, where every team that come will not have to pay anything for accommodation, meals, and anything like that. And because of that, I guess we were able to attract more teams. And in that championships in 1993, we had 19 teams.
19 teams.
19 teams. 10 male and 9 female teams participated in the event. We even decided at a particular period we were closed, and when we had 16 teams, 8 male and 8 female, and teams still come in, and teams offered to pay for their accommodation and meals so that they could come and participate, you know?
Wow.
So, and when that happened, because we were able to manage a tournament for the first time, we learned a lot of stuff. At that 93 tournament in Trinidad, we formed a group of the presidents. And we thought that from that event, we could formally now have a CAZOVA zone. And in 1994, the tournament was held in Bahamas, and we had the first election, and I was president elected in 1994. More so because when the presidents came in Trinidad in 1993, they saw what took place and what we were able to do, and the leadership and the guidance and the knowledge and the experience that we had. And they asked me if I will consider this being the chairman of the committee until the formal election in 94. And when 94 came, I became the first president of CAZOVA.
Well, great development, great starting, and I think it can be resumed in passion for volleyball, right? In passion for volleyball, passion to develop that little zone of America.
Yeah. Yes. It was a very great passion. Yes.
Right. And you have been also involved with the Olympic Committee of Trinidad, right?
Yeah. And I also in 1988 I became a member of the board of Trinidad and Tobago Volleyball Federation as an assistant secretary. And then volleyball in Trinidad from 88 to 92. We had another election in 92 and the president in 96. And at that time when we had a new board came into being and I came in there, we started changing things and developing national teams and having schools program and all that. And in 92, I was asked to join the 97. I was asked to join the Olympic team in Trinidad because they saw what was happening in volleyball, and the person who was going to was going up for election for president asked me to join his team. And his team won, and yes, I became a board member of the Olympic Committee, and I served the Olympic Committee for 16 years. For 8 years, I became as a board member, and for the second 8 years, well, it was for 2 4-year terms, I was a board member, and then from that, for another 2 4-year terms, which ended in 2013, I ended as a vice president of the Olympic Committee.
And well, in the Olympic Games, I remember that Trinidad Tobago, you have been great in the track and field, right? I remember Atto Boldon.
Yes, Atto Boldon, if you remember, and then if you go way back prior to that, in the Montreal Olympics, we had our first gold medal, and it was Hazley Crawford who won the 100 meter.
Wow.
And not only Ato Boland, we have had right now a great relay team, you know, Mark Burns and those guys, you know. So we have, yes, athletics is what we normally do well in. And
Yeah,
in
just
London Olympics, we had Kishon Walcott, who threw the javelin
oh yeah, that's right.
and got gold medal in javelin, you know.
Yeah, I think
So
he
yes,
was the first non-European guy to earn
yes,
the gold medal, right?
yes, 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 yes.
Yes, I remember
He
very
was
well.
and he was trained by a Cuban.
The Cuban.
Yes, was his coach.
Right. And well, since that, you have been keeping development in the NORCECA Confederation and also in the FIVB. How was that that transition to collaborate with FIVB in the Development Commission?
Yeah. Well, I think about it. I believe that when after Dr. Costa demit office, you know, um, NORCECA, when Dr. Costa left office, the quota for FIVB is 5 NORCECA members. When Dr. Costa left office, then we had 4. So I then joined FIVB board as a NORCECA member to make it 5. And that was when President Way was president. And then when he asked, well, because of my involvement at that time with NORCECA's Commission and Development, I became the secretary for FIVB, you know, in the commission. First, I was a member of the commission, and then I became the secretary of the commission. And then following that, I became the president of the commission when Dr. Grasser came in after a while. Now, the development is my passion, you know, because the thing about development of the sport is development of anything is meaning that you are improving people, you know. And my philosophy, as you talk about maybe a philosophy of myself, my life, is to impact positively on mankind, on people. And my first profession was a teacher. I'm not a sports teacher because being in sport, I'm not a sports teacher. I'm involved in engineering, civil engineering.
Right.
And I taught in our community college in San Fernando for 25 years as a civil engineering in the civil engineering department. So I say that the opportunity to be a teacher and the opportunity to be in sports has allowed me to realize the dream and my passion about developing human being into good people, being a teacher and being in sport. So I was able, because of our school's volleyball league, I was the president of the school volleyball league in Trinidad at one point in time, and we really impacted a lot of school volleyball kids. And being a teacher the same, I was able to impact children. So in terms of the development, when I got involved with FIVB, and of course being involved in NORCECA, I think that I wanted to be involved in development of the sport, because if you develop the sport, it will always allow for the multiplication of athletes. And while everyone thinks about development of creating national team, I think about development of creating players at the grassroots level. And my thing is about more in long-term athlete development and not really a development to a high-performance national athlete. It might happen, but it is not my objective. I want people to enjoy the sport. I want people to play the game, and I want people to have a life lifelong learning experience so that it can be continued throughout. But if people come and with the objective of becoming a professional player, of course, nothing wrong in that. But sometimes you see that if that journey doesn't happen the way the person wanted it to happen, then they lost. They leave the sport, they move on, they move to something else. So I want to see that people come, they join the sport, they play the sport, they learn the sport, they have fun in the sport, and they have an experience in the sport that can take them into a lifelong learning environment. So this is one of the things I love about in development.
Oh, that's great. That's great. In both, right? In NORCECA and FIVB, you are the president of the Development Commission.
Yes, now I am, yeah.
And what do you think has been the impact in the last few years in development in both in NORCECA and FIVB, the before and the after?
I would say that the impact is significant and great. Not because I'm president, but if you were to evaluate certain things. What caused Costa Rica to have an Olympic team in Brazil Olympics? What caused Trinidad and Tobago, two small countries, Trinidad and Tobago to participate in the World Championships in 2018 in Japan, in their female team?
Yes, I remember well.
What happened, right?
And Costa Rica participated in the last Olympics in beach volleyball.
But that's what I'm saying. Why did that happen? How did that happen? Costa Rica participated twice in the World Championships in women and Olympic in beach volleyball.
And Mexico, right? the Mexico men's indoors went to Rio in 2016.
Exactly, right? What happens to, you look at Honduras, host NORCECA events, a continental championships. You look at Mexico hosting, of course, Mexico has been phenomenal in terms of hosting major events. World Championships, World Under-19, many Pan Am Cups, Pan Am Games, 5-star beach volleyball and stuff like that, right? But not only that, let's look at, if I want to talk about Trinidad and Tobago, because I'm here, I'm home. We host NORCECA Continental Championships. How did that happen? When you have to host a championship, you have to have the people with the knowledge and the skill set to do it. It is because of a developmental phase that we allow to the CAZOVA Championships. We allow and we grow as we host smaller events. A zonal event. Guatemala, they have hosted many NORCECA championships. Before 2000, that was never happening. El Salvador hosts CAC games. But other than that, the hosting of other sport, hosting of other NORCECA events was not possible. And it's because of the opportunities that they got to host smaller events. Because that we have invested in them, we make an investment in them. We just don't give them funding. We just don't give them equipment. We made an investment so that we send coaches, we send instructors to train their people, their coaches, the local instructors, so that they could get the knowledge and skill set to continue the development of the national team. And hence, Guatemala had played in many NORCECA Continental Championships, both in men and women. Okay, Trinidad and Tobago ranked 33rd in the world at one point in time, and after we played the World Championships, we were ranked 27th. 27th in FIVB. Wow. That didn't happen because only of something that happened between Trinidad government or whatever. A matter of fact, we at NORCECA and FIVB contributes more to the sport than most of these countries. In most of these countries, send kits, St. Lucia hosts a NORCECA Beach Volleyball Championship. Jamaica.
Bonaire also, they had
a
a
fantastic beach, yes. And
of
not
beach
just a stop with that was not of a high standard, you know, the quality that they had. So and how did that happen? It happened because the NORCECA president, the NORCECA Development Commission have invested and have trained the people and have sent coaches and instructors. And apart from that, we have done in the development center, through the development center at NORCECA. NORCECA Development Center is impacting great in the development of the region. There are a number of different types of courses, and even we met, as you said, an administration management program. You know, first time we did this in NORCECA. It was a great success, in my opinion. You know,
yes, I do agree with you.
You know, so these are the developmental things that you would have done. Of course, development takes time. It will not happen tomorrow. Investment in development is a long-term investment, and you will have a long-term return.
And you can, sorry, Mushtaque, and you can clearly see that with the success in the last few years of the Dominican female team, right?
Yeah.
It's not by accident. I mean, they have been
No.
developing that team and that players for a long time.
And not only the national senior team, also the youth, the U18 and the U20, you know? And not only U18, U20, U14, you know?
And well, a lot of people thinks that, I think mistakenly, that it's only a matter of money, but it's not only a matter of money. It's a matter of money plus organization plus professionalization, right?
Yes, but you see, money, it is a matter of money.
But not only a matter of money.
No, they must have the know-how.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you can have money and don't know what to do with it.
Yes, of course.
Okay? You must have the quality people who you will take this money and invest in. Your money will, for instance, the Dominican Republic national team is probably an example that these players are professional athletes. It means that they are paid to play and to learn and to develop volleyball. In Barbados, in Jamaica, that doesn't happen. In Trinidad and Tobago, that doesn't happen. Our athletes have to go to school, have to come back home, go for a training session, come back home, or go to work, go for a training session, come back home. So when you compare an athlete from Dominican Republic or Canada or United States, and teams like Costa Rica have to play against them, and Trinidad and Tobago and Guatemala, you are playing against teams that have everything for volleyball, whose profession is volleyball. And now you're going to play against an amateur team who train probably 3 times a week, very haphazardly, in a small gym, may not be air conditioned, may have very limited resources in terms of equipment, may not have a team doctor, a physiotherapist, a statistician, but yet still they have the biomechanics, they have the physiology, and they have the passion to play. Cristobal Mantehoff said, if he had the athletes that I have in Trinidad and Tobago, by now he probably might. In terms of their physiology, that they would have been, we have the athletes, but we don't have the resources financially and technically to build a team to participate in the Olympics.
Yes, right. I remember, Mushtaque, a few years ago also, the Vanuatu female beach volleyball team, they were close to qualify to the Olympics, right? Or
they did.
They did. Yeah, they did. They did. Yes, of course.
You see, and this is something and all that we try to encourage in development. President Grassa had said it many times. If an island that surrounds itself by sand and beaches and has good climatic condition, like Vanuatu, recognizes that their resources can go to train and develop 2 athletes, rather than who will participate in the Olympics where there are 32 chances to qualify.
Yes, instead of indoor that you have only 12 teams,
12 teams.
You have 15
You
or
know,
20 players training all the year.
and
right?
you have, and to select your national team, you cannot just have 15 players training. You have to have because you want to see the transition from youth into junior, into senior. You want to see that teams, and so all of these programs make and shape teams to qualify for the Olympics. In beach volleyball, is not necessary, you know. So like Trinidad and Tobago, Nicaragua has a fantastic pair of athletes coming up now, you know, and hopefully they're looking very much for qualifying for the Olympics.
Next year we have the Continental Cup in Mexico.
Yes, I know the finals.
Yeah.
Yes, the finals. Yes,
Hope
but
to see you there.
well, I'm not sure, but before before the finals, there is a semifinals. And the semifinal is supposed to be held in Nicaragua. It was postponed twice already because of the COVID situation. But we hope next year we could have the semifinals in Nicaragua, where the teams from Central America and the Caribbean will come together to qualify for the finals in the Continental Cup.
Okay, I think it will be a great event. I hope to see you there, Mushtaque.
I don't know, yeah.
Mushtaque, what's the future in the next few years, or the development of volleyball? What do you think we can see in terms of volleyball? Not in rules, that's Willie Paredes thing or Alex Steele, but in the different type of volleyball we have seen in the past years. What do you think we will see in the next few years?
Well, I think that FIVB has done some changes, and we'll see how the Volleyball Nation League was a new innovation a couple of years ago. And it is about bringing the entertainment to the sport, or make it rather than you have to have the game, because remember, volleyball is not the only sport in the world. And if you want to bring volleyball as big as World Cup, FIFA World Cup, we are a long way away from it. But we can reach something that can become a competitor. So we have to be innovative in how we're going to market this sport, how we're going to sell this sport. And COVID has taught us a lot. COVID has taught us a lot that right now you are seeing a lot of sport being played with empty stadiums. But marketing, the media is no longer sitting down in front of a television. The media is virtual wherever you are. And hence, if you want to see the game, it's going to be difficult to transition between a very full stadium to no spectators. And I still think there's a role for all of that. But there must have an evolution to become and to continue to become competitive in how you will be able to attract your sponsors and how you will be able to maintain an income, because your income is what's going to pay your athletes to be sustained. I am not too sure where we will be going in the future, but I'm sure that changes are necessary and is required. We have seen the success of the Volleyball Nation League because it became a commercial event. It became an event filled with entertainment, and it became an event that was catered for the public, the live public audience. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure how much success that will be for the future. Because we have to think about where are we going in the world of virtual reality, in the world of where we can do a lot of things virtually. Of course, the sport cannot be played virtually, but we need to think about how we can manage that in the
Yeah.
future.
I think it's a personal opinion, Mushtaq, and well, I'm a huge fan of volleyball. I have spent the last 5 or 4 Nations League watching all games every weekend. But that's me, because I'm crazy for this sport, and I think one of the challenges is to communicate that to all people, to volleyball fans, and to people who are not volleyball fans. I think, but think about NFL, American football. The Super Bowl is watched by people who love football and who people who knows nothing about American football, but they love the show. They love the music. They love the loud. They love the all the statistics, and I think it's a great challenge for volleyball. I wanna participate in that. It's in my side, but knowing that not everybody is me. I have no problem to sit 5 or 6 weekends to watch 3 days of volleyball in Nation League. But I do agree with you. How do we make that people not involved exactly in volleyball can come and watch and enjoy volleyball?
Yes, exactly. And this is what I'm saying, that the management, the leadership of the sport, and I know Dr. Grasser is really keen on this, and his general manager Fabio and the others and team around him, about doing exactly what you are saying. How do we build the commerciality of this sport? How do we keep the sport attractive? Because if we lose the interest, they have tried to come up with the right formula. For example, television is also telling us that the sport is too long, or the sport is not does not have an exact end. For instance, the game can end with 3 sets in an hour and 20 minutes, or 5 sets, 2.5 hours. How do you pay for TV time if you're not too sure if the game is going to finish in 75 minutes or 120 minutes? That is very difficult to manage. You will see NBA basketball team has a duration. US Football, American football, it has a duration. Yeah. So there is a duration, but volleyball, no. Some people argue and says, hey, but tennis doesn't have a duration. But people watch tennis also. But how much are we losing the interest? Or are we losing the people who are interested in the sport because of we are unable to tell them to keep them attracted to it? Are we losing television, as we have now recognized that television is no longer the future of commercial sport? It has to be television plus. It has to be all the mediums that we have to transmit our games, and everybody wants it for free.
Yeah, that's right.
How do we make that happen? How do we make the statistics and the numbers so that a sponsor will be attracted to say, I want to sell soft drink to your audience, but how do I keep them involved, or I keep them attracted to my drink and volleyball? So the experts are like, I'm not an expert in that part of the field in marketing, I know, but the experts are there and they are required to do their survey, do their networking, get the data, and see what keeps the young teenager interest, and also the ones who are older, so that they can have it, the balance to make sure that people are attracted to the sport.
Yes, of course. Mushtaq, how much do you think have volleyball changed since the starting of social media, since the starting of anybody can broadcast right now a game via Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? It's a new era for sports and especially for volleyball. What do you think?
It is a new era, but I don't think volleyball has changed enough. And we're not changing fast enough.
Right.
Or we're not packaging the sport for Instagram and these other forms of social media, Facebook and whatever, you know. That's what I'm saying, there is a need to do something more dynamic and a need to do something more aggressive. I don't know what it is. I don't have the answer. The experts in those fields will guide us and should guide us and tell us how to do it and what we should and what we should not do. But yes, we need to be creative and innovative. Volleyball Nation League was one attempt to it. But I'm saying again, as I said before, the COVID situation is changing all of those dynamics.
Yes, right.
You know, and maybe we may return to the court next year, but we don't know when something else might happen to remove us again from the court. So we have to do something creative to be prepared for these type of eventualities. Understand?
Yes, of course. Mushtaq, I think that next year, because all the national teams has been stopped playing for the last 6 or 7 months, I think that next year will be great for volleyball. I think it's Olympic year. We all hope that Tokyo can be made, but I think all the teams will send their A teams for the VNL, both men and women. And I think if vaccine is coming, we will have one of the greatest volleyball years in a long time. What do you think?
I agree with you. Because a lot of people are hungry.
Yeah, that's the word. Hungry, yeah.
And eager to do something. We talked about cricket when we started earlier on. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we hosted what is called a Caribbean Premier League in cricket. And this Premier League was normally being held in like six different islands. And this time it's one held in Trinidad for 6 weeks, alone, one island, because they needed to create a bubble so that all the athletes came to one location and they were protected from the COVID. There were no interferences from the external people. And it was a huge success from the internet perspective, from the television perspective, you know, but the success was relative to the time now, but it did not have the type of financial support as it did last year when it was allowed to be in 6 different territories and there were live audiences, because you are meeting the people directly, you're meeting the fans directly. So it's a different atmosphere. So people, the fans want to return to the court. Yes, I agree with you. Next year could be a big year for sport and for the Olympics if everything works well. If there are different types of questions, like I'm not sure if this vaccine would really work. I'm not sure if I will be very safe if I travel long distances on an airplane. I'm not sure if I can go into a fan zone and not get contaminated in some particular virus or whatever. If there are a lot of doubts in people's mind, it could have a negative impact. But I'm saying that yes, even if there are doubts in people's mind and there are fans who go into the Olympics and fans who are staying home, everybody wants to see something on the television or on their Facebook or on their Instagram or live in sport. So people are hungry and thirsty. They're eager to get out of this claustrophobic atmosphere.
Yeah, that's right.
To go out there and meet the world again.
Yes, of course. Well, I have seen some NFL games in the last few weeks, and it's kind of different for me, you know, because I have all my life enjoyed baseball, watching baseball and football, but with full stadiums, with full of crowds, a lot of people, and right now it is rare, you know, it's weird because yeah, the players are on the court, are on the field, but there are no people on the stands, and it's kind of crazy, you know, because I think pro sports or develop one. I think one crucial part of developing sports if is developing the crowds, the fans. But yeah, it's different times right now, but it's a little weird.
It is weird, for instance, every change that we have to make in life is weird. Every change that we make in life is difficult or is different or is uncomfortable. Every change in life, you know, and it's because you were in a comfort zone. You were in your 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 area of comfort or your area of specialization or your area where you feel in control.
Yeah.
But now the changes that have been made, you have to sit at home, you have to talk to Mushtaque, who is in Trinidad, so many miles away, or you have to sit at home and listen to artificial cheering in the stadiums. Grow accustomed to it. We have to grow accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Because I think that in the future we will have more of this happening.
Yeah. Well, in the other hand, this pandemic has developed some opportunities. For example, for me, to reach 106 episodes of this webcast.
Of course.
We are a lot of volleyball personalities that in regular time could be difficult to have here.
Yeah.
Harsh Kirai, John Spro, you, Judith Sandino,
Yeah.
uh, all of uh, we had to be involved in our day-to-day activities. Well, spend an hour and a half with Alejandro in Facebook. Come on. But well, I think it's been an opportunity to know to know all of we together very well, uh, most beyond the player of the coach or the referee, to know the people, and that's important. But at the end, I totally agree with you. People, we are hungry of volleyball, of return to our last normal. But well, we have to wait. That's for sure.
Yes, for sure we have to wait. For sure we have to remember that there are a lot of things that we have no control over.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Mushtaq, thanks a lot. This has been a great talk with you. You're a big volleyball personality. You have a great volleyball philosophy. I want to thank you again for the time, for being here. And I wonder if you can send some final words for all the people who are watching us.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I want to thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts about volleyball and to the audience who are listening. You know, I want to say that everything is not lost. For every adversity, there is an opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and but we need to look for those opportunities. We need to look and see, like, whenever there is a problem, we don't dwell on the problem, otherwise we will never find a solution. Let us be positive in the negative. Let us be happy where we are not, because that's the true test of our character and of our ability to stay positive, to share the smile that we have in each other so that we can make others happy. And it's not only about being in the fan zone, but it's also about what is the experience we have when we are in the fan zone that will impact others so that they also can have a wonderful experience. Thank you for the opportunity. Good night to everyone. Good morning, or whatever, wherever you are in this part of the world. Joining Alejandro. Commendation to you, Alejandro, for allowing people to meet and greet your guests and hear from them, because other than this, they would have had probably nothing to do.
Thanks again, Mushtaq. On Wednesday, I will host Mr. Tom Blue, the referee from the United States.
Great.
And in 2 weeks, I will have Robert Gambardella from the United States also. And in 3 weeks, I will have Rose Magers Powell, 84 Olympian for the United States.
Right, fantastic. Bob Gambardella and Tom Blue are my good colleagues too.
Yeah, great people. I have a message for you, Mr. My dear friend and mentor, Juan Manuel Zaragoza says greetings and big hug to Mushtaq.
Yes, Zaragoza, yes, for sure. Also tell him for me also, un abrazo para ti también.
Matías Castro, saludos desde Sinaloa, México.
Sí, Matías. Muy bien.
Miguel Ángel Rosas, entrenador, youth coach here in Mexico, says saludos desde Coyoacán, Mexico City, a Mushtaq.
Gracias.
Well, Mushtaq, thanks again. I hope to see you pretty soon in volleyball court. And thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your volleyball philosophy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having me, and goodbye and good night and good luck for all your future endeavors.
Thank you. Take care.
Ciao.
See ya.
Cuídate.
Bye.
Nos vemos.